afternoon and good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. This is Teus Murat, and
Nixon back to finally continue the podcast series that we started and then got delayed on.
as the Grumpy Old Gamers, we are back as promised, and as you can see, we're doing Mortal Kombat.
We are grumpy and we are old.
But we are still gamers.
Oh, dude, I'll be 80 and pumping arthritis medication like house pump Vicodin just so I can keep playing.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, I'm starting to get arthritis in my fingers from playing things like Mortal Kombat, but I'll still do it.
Well, yeah, that's only because you've got like normal fingers, so trying to pull off those ridiculous fatalities, like, yeah, I don't think normal human fingers are made, at least not on a controller. Back in the day when it was in the arcade, on the end you had the joystick and the big buttons. But, yeah, I think these, although to be fair, even in controllers, I remember seeing a review by a guy called the Angry Video Game Nerd, and he did a lot of the Mortal Kombat ones from back in the day when they ported them for Mortal Monday to the consoles.
Yeah.
And when he was talking about the Sega version, and that's what he said, like the ludicrousness of trying to do Mortal Kombat, the original, on a 3-button controller.
Yeah, that would be kind of...
you know, was crazy.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
But we're jumping ahead there. I mean, if we're talking Mortal Kombat, you've got to go back to the arcade, really.
Oh, the arcade machine. Yes, indeed.
The original arcade machine. You know,
Yeah,
which
well,
to this day, you know, people see one of those, you know, in a rare occasion, because they do still exist, the Mortal Kombat original arcade machines, they will still have business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I think places like there's a place in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane.
Finish her.
Well, as I said, there's definitely one in Sydney. Are you playing, or because that was very quick what I just saw?
Yeah, they got modifiers and stuff that kind of, if that hit me, then I would have been taken down.
Oh, okay, so it's supposed to, this is not like just a normal fight.
No, this is invasion mode, which is definitely one of the new features I will talk about later on in the podcast.
So I mean, look, again, this is your jam. My jam will come later on in one of the later podcasts. Mortal Kombat, fighting games in general. I want to know from you.
Yes.
You know, you're 37 this year.
I've just turned 37 actually.
Just turned 37. Mortal Kombat's kind of always been your jam, fighting games. What do you remember? The original, the start of Mortal Kombat. You know, did you have much to do with the arcade machine or the Mortal Monday ports, or did you not come into it a bit later?
I was never allowed to play the arcade version because back in the time I was quite young. The first time I actually played it was on the SNES. I think it was Ultimate 3.
Ultimate, is that like a version of 3, I'm guessing?
Yes, it was basically from what I can gather, it's the original one that was ported to console, like tweaked for console. So it was slightly different graphics at the time than the arcade, because you had 1 and 2 and 3 in the arcade, then you had Ultimate 3, which came out on the SNES. I think it also came out on the Mega Drive. And that's the first thing but that's the one that had the blood code that you could turn the blood on and off, which is the only way I could play it, because
I thought that was the one. Maybe they changed it over here, because everything I've seen would suggest that was the 1 port.
No,
the original 1 port had the blood code for the Sega, and they had no blood, obviously, in the Nintendo version.
Actually, Ultimate 3, I think, probably had all 3 of them in it.
Yeah, I could buy that, yeah. Because I was going to say,
but again, a long time ago,
port was just the 1 port. Oh, we are going back, but yeah, like when I was looking into a bit of research for when we were going to do this, yeah, by all suggestions I can find is the original 1 port, which came to a number. It wasn't just Nintendo and Sega, actually. There was a 1 port on a number of things, including the Game Boy, which, from what I've seen, did not look good. And I think most things on the Game Boy didn't look good as well. Oh, look, there were games on the game. I remember slight detour from the game here, but I remember having Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, and you could tell like that had kind of been geared towards the Game Boy, so it worked. But something like Mortal Kombat, which had been an arcade game and was so fast paced, I think, because it is, you know yourself, man, Mortal Kombat's very fast.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Game Boy was never going to lend itself to that. Props to them for trying, I guess, and I suppose back in the day, you know, it would be a little bit hard for younger people to understand now the significance of the Game Boy and being able to play games on the go.
The brick.
Hats off to them for trying, I guess. But the brick, yeah, the four AA battery brick.
Which lasted what, 2 hours, if that?
No, you can get if you got decent batteries, you could last longer. But your most financially responsible decision with anything on the Game Boy was rechargeables, because you would burn through them. And batteries, even back then, batteries were not a cheap excursion.
No.
But I mean, look, we keep it on task here. If we're talking Mortal Kombat, correct me if I'm wrong. Your original characters, you had Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They've they were just a palette swap back then of the same person.
No,
they had different moves. They had different moves, but I mean, in look, back then they weren't really distinctive. One was yellow, one was blue, but they were ultimately the same looking character.
The original Guy ninjas, Reptile, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero, they were different from each other. It was the other ones that were just palette swaps.
Purple one as well.
Rain came in 3. Smoke was a
Rain came in 3. Right.
Smoke was a hidden character in 2 apparently, but actually came into a hidden character in 1. But it technically was, but it was one of those playground legends that was just bullshit.
Yes, yeah.
But then
like that, I can't remember the name of it, but there was the one in Street Fighter had the similar that they brought into 6 finally after all those years of being a legend.
Yes. And what they've done, and what they did with Smoke, is go, yep, we've they actually put him in. I think it was 2 or 3. I think it was 2, but you had to do like codes or like do a particular things for it in order to unlock him. So that was a legend that became an actual character, and he was basically had a move from every single of the original ninjas. So you had Sub-Zero slide, but it wasn't ice because he wasn't ice thing. He had the Scorpion's harpoon, and he had the invisibility from Reptile. So he was basically like the ultimate palette swap. But then as the series progressed, they actually kind of gave him his own character, which I thought was good.
Yeah, no, I see. So you had your original 3 ninjas in number 1. So it was your Sub-Zero, your Scorpion, and I think Reptile was unlockable, if I remember. I don't think he was initially playable.
No, I think he was one of the unlockables.
And then you had Johnny Cage and Sonya.
Yep.
Raiden and Liu Kang. Was that it, or am I missing someone out of that original roster lineup?
You had Raiden. You had
Raiden,
Johnny Cage, Sonya, Sub-Zero, Scorpion.
Was Baraka in it back then?
Yes, Baraka was.
Because there was no Kano. There was no Kano back then, I don't think.
Kano was in the original. Kano was in one of the original ones. Even though they kept saying that he was Australian,
I
but they kept
was in the. I don't think he was in the original. Kano, I don't think was in the very first one.
Oh, I thought he was.
Because no, you might be right. He might have been, because I think I remember seeing footage of one of the ports when I believe Kano's fatality was he'd rip out their heart.
Yes.
And I think in the Nintendo port they changed it to he stole their wallet, and they just seemed to die.
Yeah. And their excuse was, because he's Australian. And even though in the
okay, so apparently we all steal people's wallets down here. That's new.
Well, according to Americans, we're a place full of convicts.
Well, that's true. But then, so we go on to, number 1 was huge. I mean, it seems laughable now when you consider the violence in some of these games, but at the time it was.
Oh, it caused like controversy in it. But the thing is,
it was huge uproar.
What I thought was funny was the fact that, but there were fatalities, but do you know how hard they had to pull off? No 8-year-old's going to know how to pull that off.
That for starters, but then like I said, you know, it almost seems comical when you look at, even by today's standards, you know, the current Mortal Kombat you're playing right now, I wouldn't even necessarily put that up there in the realm of some of the gore that you see in this day and age.
Yeah. Although I have to admit,
what you're doing right, like, yeah, like even what you're doing now, I've seen that, you know, Resident Evil 7 is a prime example of something that absolutely shits all over this as far as gore goes, man, to be honest. So it's almost funny now to think about, but at the time, yeah, it was a huge deal. And it was one of those times where Nintendo really, I think, dropped the ball, because as much as they tried to position themselves as a family console,
it did kind of limit what they could do.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was so known for that violence and that gore that it just didn't work.
And that was the reason why, you know, everybody kind of, everyone wanted to play it.
It did Sega a huge favour, Nintendo doing that, I think, to be honest with you. I think that gave Sega a good bit of business.
Oh, it definitely gave them a good leg up.
And then, of course, like 2 and 3, I don't think there's a lot needs to be said about 2 and 3. Like, you're pretty much in the same realm as 1, maybe just a little bit more in the character selections. But there is one I want to ask you about.
Yes.
That I found during some research. And it does not have very good responses from people. I want to know, did you ever play Mythologies Sub-Zero? That tells me. I was going to say yes. While researching, I found a game called Mythologies Sub-Zero.
Oh god, that was. Oh wow, that was
not well. What the hell is a Janet Cage, by the way?
Multiversal shenanigans.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
Yeah, and she's a cameo.
No, I found a Mythologies Sub-Zero.
Oh my
that
god!
Apparently was not well liked by anybody, from what I could tell.
I think the term woeful is thrown around a lot.
No, I heard terms that were probably a little nastier than that, to be honest, to describe it.
But it was on the 64, and the 64 controller did not go well with that.
Was it just the control? The gameplay footage I've seen of it.
I mean, it was terrible.
Problems than just the controller.
Oh yeah,
like it didn't look good in general.
Oh no, it did not. It was.
I remember, a different fighting series. Tekken 3 had a mode called Tekken Force Mode in the game.
The thing is, that actually worked.
You could choose to play. It did somewhat work, but it also was not attempted to be released as its own thing. It was just a sub mode that was in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat Mythologies, I think, in a lot of different lists I've read and seen, it's voted one of the worst games of all time.
Did you play? You played it? I'm guessing at some point.
Yes, both me and my older brother did play it. And yeah, because obviously, I used to play a lot with Glypho too. We grew up playing it together, and his favorite character was always Sub-Zero. So when they brought out a game that was solely Sub-Zero, he jumped on it, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I like Mortal Kombat, so I'll give it a go. And Sub-Zero was always an interesting character because ice powers and all that. In fact, in this particular game, he's one of my favorite ones to use, even though his character is an absolute asshole. But that's beside the point.
In this game, is this the original Sub-Zero that becomes Noob Saibot, or is this the good stuff? So this is the original dipshit Sub-Zero.
So this is Bihan, which is the older brother.
Right. He's the bad guy. Because
who does eventually become Noob Saibot? Is Kuai Liang.
There's younger one, and he's the good guy.
Yes.
He was like Mortal Kombat's version of Batman.
Basically,
boy, we will get to that game, but we're not there yet. We're still talking Sub-Zero, the crime that was committed against Sub-Zero.
Yeah, it was basically like a brawler, like a platform brawler. Like, think Final Fight meets Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it looked, honestly, to me, what I saw of it, it basically looked like Mortal Kombat, like with the way he was moving to the side of the screen. Met really pick any platformer because there looked to be some platforming elements, and then they had what looked like RPG elements in there as well.
Yeah, you basically learn different moves to kind of get you through things.
Yeah, it was a very odd. From everything I've seen of it, I was like, that's a strange game that I don't know, what drugs they were sitting there smoking in the what would have been Midway offices at the time when they came up with this thing, because it was a weird looking game.
Yeah.
Do you remember though? Because that was 64. What did PlayStation get from Mortal Kombat? Was it 4? Was the first one that PlayStation got?
4 was 64 and PS1.
Sub-Zero wins.
Right. So, but I think 4 was the first one. I think PS1 got, wasn't it? Oh, they might have got Mythologies as well. I'm not sure.
No, they. Actually, they may have got Mythologies, because I didn't start playing Mortal Kombat on PlayStation till about, I think, on the 2. Because they had
the 2. What did the 2 have?
Armageddon, which was the last of the classic period. 9 was 3.
Or Mortal Kombat or whatever you want to call it. That was 3.
Yeah, that was 3, which was great because it was the first time they introduced Smoke as his own character with his own story and everything like that. And he was a Lin Kuei like Sub-Zero. But he
it's
obviously
amazing to
Smoke.
think how far the story.
Well, the fact that it's actually got a story now.
Yeah, compared to, obviously back in the days of 1, 2, and 3, when essentially it was a tournament fighter with, I think, maybe endings for each character, potentially.
That was probably as much as it got. Though I would like to take this opportunity to do a massive shout out to Ed Boon and John Tobias for the great franchise that was basically the reason why I got into gaming at the ripe old age of 6 or 8. It was what got me as a gamer.
Yeah, no, probably far younger than you should have been playing Mortal Kombat. But, who am I to talk? I played Doom. I played I got my first taste of Doom when I was 6. So I mean, I'm not really one to judge. Shooting Nazis in Wolfenstein at 5. But
I didn't grow up to become a cage fighter, so obviously what they were saying back then about growing up to be violent. Here's
a little fascinating fact that I did find out actually. That I don't know if you know. So obviously you've heard of the UFC.
Oh, of course, yes.
The fighting combat sport UFC. I was watching a documentary because the original owners and founders of the UFC are obviously not the ones that own it now.
Yeah.
And when they were interviewing, I can't remember which one of the original guys that was talking about it, but the original idea, or at least in part, the original idea for the UFC, so, this mixed martial arts fight, the cage, all of that kind of stuff, in part, was inspired by the popularity of Mortal Kombat, apparently.
I like that. I like the sound of that.
So there was obviously, again, there was a lot of other things involved in that as well, obviously, but one of the things that got their attention was the popularity of Mortal Kombat at the time, apparently, led to, at least in some small part, the creation of what is now the biggest mixed martial arts brand in the world.
Well, kudos to them.
And it worked. I mean, I've seen the original, you go back, you watch the first 10 UFCs, and it was very different to what it is now, obviously. And as I said, that was not wholly and solely, it was only one small part of it, but it was just very, very interesting that that something that has become such a phenomenon worldwide can trace a very small part of its history back to this particular game series.
Who was infamous back in the day.
It was infamous back in the day. Well, to be fair, UFC was fairly infamous back when it started as well. It was, anyone that knows the history knows it went through some pretty dark times with regards to politicians kind of saying, well, we're not having that. So, well, there he is.
Big old Baraka.
Big old Baraka.
And that's technically Kuai Liang from Mortal Kombat 3 outfit that he's wearing.
Yeah, no, they've had... Do you think, I mean, looking at... I know you and I have had discussions about it, I'm not a big fan necessarily of Mortal Kombat 1 because I feel like it's a step backwards with regards to some things.
Yep.
Do you think maybe they got a little over bloated in, what was it, 11 or 12 was the last one? 11.
11.
Yeah, do you think maybe they got a little over bloated and this is kind of an attempt to reset things, maybe?
11 definitely was all, apart from not having the whole make your own character thing. 11 was starting to feel a bit like Armageddon, where it had like a lot of characters, a lot of things. It was starting to feel a bit like overstuffed, as it were. Whereas this one is not only it's like back to its roots, but it's also a continuation on. But it's a less is more sort of thing. And I think it's quite. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it's got less characters, less things. But I actually quite like where they've gone with this because yeah.
I'm just waiting for I'm waiting the arrival of the man himself to pop up in this game.
Well, I was going to get into guest characters over the years, you know.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that too. But the greatest guest character of all time, possibly the greatest man of all time, is yet to pop up, but he'll be here soon.
No, Omni-Man's already here.
Yeah, you You just got to remember that you're the hero.
Well,
God, I can't wait. I can't wait for Homelander to pop up in this game. It's gonna be so good.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, he's going to fit in. He's going to fit in real well.
Oh, I mean, he is a character, because I've seen Anthony Starr, the actor that plays him in a different series called Banshee, and he's a brilliant actor, but the character, speaking as the character and not the character is such a... you want to hate him, and you should hate him by all rights.
He's a great character, he's just a knob.
He's just an absolute knob of a character, yeah, he's terrible. Just a terrible, you know, he makes Injustice Superman look like, you know, a friendly, nice guy by comparison. But I can't help but love the character of Homelander. Like, and when I say love the character, I mean as in I love the character.
The character himself,
I love
yeah.
the way he goes. The actual character himself is a terrible person and should be eliminated immediately for the safety of everyone around him. But his portrayal is phenomenal, and I do hope, considering, you know, they got Jean-Claude Van Damme in this, and they got John Cena to actually do Peacemaker, and I believe they got J.K. Simmons to do Omni-Man. I sincerely hope they actually did get Anthony Starr to
he would jump at it
when he comes out.
Let's be honest, he would jump at it.
If they've gotten someone to portray the character that's not Anthony Starr, I don't think it's going to be the same.
No.
I think they've got to have him doing the character. A bit like John Cena with Peacemaker or J.K. Simmons.
I think after Terminator, in Mortal Kombat 11, they were, because they didn't get. I don't think they got Arnie to do the Terminator in 11.
Really? I thought.
No, they got someone who.
They got. Yeah, I was going to say they certainly got. I believe they got Stallone for Rambo.
Yes, they got Stallone for Rambo. They got Keith David for Spawn.
Yeah. They got Peter Weller, I believe they got for RoboCop.
Yes, but they didn't get Arnie. But you could tell the difference of sort of quality of that.
Let me just double check that. No, so you're right. He did not actually voice the character.
No, it was obviously someone who. Well,
apparently, according to what I'm seeing here, he's not a huge. He's not a huge. Like, he doesn't do a lot of voiceovers in video games. But he definitely lent the motion capture, which was he allowed them to use his face.
Yeah, his likeness. Yeah. You couldn't do Terminator.
Although I still think it was a wasted opportunity not to have Ash Williams in there.
Oh yeah, Ash Williams would have been one of those that would have worked really well. I mean, honestly, I would have been happy with T-1000 in there actually. Give Robert Patrick a go. Schlunk.
Well, I mean, to be fair, yeah, you could do T-1000. Because if Sub-Zero can make ice blades, he can make liquid metal blades. It's all doable.
Definitely.
But I mean, you brought it up before. Guest characters. I mean, what what guest character was kind of your... What was the one you were like, yes, that's the one I want? Because I can tell you exactly which one was mine. I don't remember exactly which game it was, but for me it was Jason.
I can probably tell you.
I was stoked with Jason, and like I said, I'm stoked with Homelander
That's X. Mortal Kombat X was Jason.
I thought having Jason was pretty cool.
See, my favorite one is a tricky one. I liked, well, in Mortal Kombat 10, Mortal Kombat X, there wasn't Baraka. There wasn't representation of Tarkatans. But the closest thing they did is they did the Xenomorph. From the movie Aliens.
Yeah. 10 had a few. Had the Xenomorph, the Predator, Jason, I think Leatherface was there. Because Freddy, unfortunately, was in 9, which means you couldn't make your own Freddy versus Jason, which was a shame.
Yeah. But what I liked about the Xenomorph, because it goes in with the whole Xenomorph thing, is like, that they take attributes of the hosts when they kind of get... when they incubate. So they actually kind of... So the story with it was the fact that he landed in Outworld, an egg landed in Outworld, and went on a Tarkatan. So that was the closest thing you got to a Tarkatan. So they had the massive teeth, and you had the arm blades.
So that was, of all the guest character options, that's what you're going with, like, your favourite?
No, he's not my favourite. I'm just listing off ones that I really liked, and I liked how they integrated the Xenomorph into it. Kratos worked out well in 9. But that was PlayStation.
There you go. I didn't even know he was in. Oh yeah, of course it would have been. That's not a surprise.
Yeah, no, Kratos worked really well actually in that one. See, favorites is really tricky. Because again, but would we count the absolute abysmal PlayStation 3 title in guest characters, or were they proper fighters?
Well, first off, I don't know if you're talking about the one I'm thinking you're talking about. I don't know if I'd go with abysmal, and I definitely wouldn't count them as guests, no, because that was kind of the premise of the game.
We are talking about Mortal Kombat vs DC.
Yeah, and again, I disagree on the statement that was abysmal.
Abysmal's probably not the right term, but it was definitely not their best work.
It was not their best work, but I feel like you're being harsh with an abysmal tag.
But
I wouldn't count them as guest characters, only because that was kind of the premise of the game, really. Like, it would, I'm talking, purely a Mortal Kombat game, and these are characters that are not necessarily from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That have been put into the game.
Yeah. So,
as I said, for me, like Jason, Homelander coming into this one. I mean, the Joker, I didn't really get behind the Joker, but then again,
I wanted to.
At the point where
I wanted to because I love the Joker as a character, but he just...
I like the Joker as a character when he's done right, but I'll be honest, like, I kind of sometimes think that he's a little bit... No, I'm probably going to compete for this. He's kind of overrated sometimes.
He has
the sheer knob slobbery that people... Yeah, the sheer knob slobbery that people have for the Joker sometimes. I'm like, if I'd had a choice, I would have taken Ash over the Joker any day of the week for a Mortal Kombat game.
See, my iterations of the Joker are all the ones that I've seen. He's not a massive fighter. He does plans. He has traps. He can kind of shoot you and knife fight when need be. But he doesn't go out more inclined
to see. I would have been more inclined to see Harley Quinn than the Joker in
see Harley Quinn
fighting perspective.
Yeah, I mean Harley Quinn would definitely suit it better than Joker.
She's definitely more of an athletic fighting type character than the Joker.
I mean, hell, Clayface would have worked. They could have made him like some sort of weird Shang Tsung sort of thing.
Yeah. Do you remember? Like, I don't know for sure. I know Injustice was made by the same company. Did Ed Boon and John Tobias have anything to do with Injustice?
Yeah. It's their baby because they still got the DC license.
Brutality.
Oh, there you go.
That's why Injustice 2 has Sub-Zero and Raiden in it.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. They should have thrown the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to Injustice 2.
I mean,
will never not be bitter over that game. Jesus Christ.
But again, this goes with yes, there are characters that I love. I love Johnny Cage. I love I like the concept of Sub-Zero. I like Kuai Liang Sub-Zero.
Actually, you know what? I would have liked to have seen Johnny Cage in Injustice.
He would have worked out well.
Seen him teaming up with the Batman's faction, whatever they were called, the Rebels, whatever they were in Injustice, the Resistance. But I'd like to have seen Johnny Cage get his bit in there and help out.
On the flip side, characters that I don't think work for Mortal Kombat, people like Aaron Black.
The dead shot of Mortal Kombat. Yeah, go
on. I'm sorry, but Mortal Kombat is a fighting. I mean, I've got nothing against projectile moves.
The same argument. Well, it's not an argument. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But if Michael was here, he might have differing opinions, considering his love of Deadshot, and I believe he's not too.
So Glypho 2
fond of Aaron Black, isn't he? Glypho 2 likes to stand on the opposite side of the level and fire off bullets. Comment in
the comment section below with your disgust, Glypho 2.
Your absolute disagreement with the statement we've just made.
But a cowboy does not belong in a war.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you right there.
Oh, go on then. As soon as
you said that, you went a cowboy. If I'm not mistaken, and again, I don't know, but there is a character called Striker?
Yes.
Who's like a SWAT operator or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Why is he more fitted than a cowboy?
Because cops can punch people.
To stand there and
he uses a nightstick. No, he uses like a nightstick, not just Cassie Cage uses a gun.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you on the statement of the way that Aaron Black plays, similar to the way that Deadshot plays. But the statement that a cowboy, you could absolutely have a cowboy.
Yeah, but in Mortal Kombat 11,
that actually has required him to get up and fight.
See, the thing is, that's so shtick. He's great at shooting. I mean, Mortal Kombat 11, where they had like 3 pieces of gear per character, 2 of his gears were guns. Guns! Seriously, 3 of them, and that's all he's known for. And a hat.
In that respect, you're preaching. In that respect, you're preaching to the choir. I played Injustice 2, same as you. I too have nothing but indomitable amounts of rage for characters that are programmed like Deadshot or Aaron Black, or I think. God, he was going. Actually, come to think of it, and Michael can disagree with this all he wants. At the end of the day, any of those long-range characters seem to be his specialty with that one.
Yeah. See,
I don't care how many arguments people try to make to the objectively opposite. At the end of the day, it's still a fighting game. See, standing there and getting pummeled from the other side of the arena, it's like, it doesn't feel very fighting.
Yeah. I mean, I've got nothing wrong with projectiles and that, because, everyone's got projectiles. Sub-Zero's got projectiles.
Well, going all the way back to Street Fighter 2 with the fucking Hadouken from Ryu. And I believe back then it was considered poor form if you were playing Street Fighter 2 to spam the Hadouken.
Oh, yeah. But spamming is different from just kind of, using it to kind of get an upper hand.
You can. I absolutely have no issue with the idea of using it. If you happen to punch someone, they fly backwards, you jump backwards, you throw a Hadouken or a shot or whatever at them, and then jump forward and re-engage. Yes, but as I said, I think even back in the day with Street Fighter 2, it was considered poor form in an arcade to spam a Hadouken.
Yeah,
you'd win no friends spamming Hadoukens back in the day.
When you've got characters that their special moves are all shooting, it's like, no, you got no place in an actual fighting game.
No, I agree. This is one of the reasons why, for me, I was always a fan of the Tekken series of my fault, because Tekken it didn't really have a huge amount of long-range options.
No, I think Devil Jin was probably...
You really... Yeah, Devil Jin, I think, had a bit. Ogre in Tekken 3.
Yeah, but he was the boss, though. He was allowed to.
I think it was it Jinpachi was number 5?
Jinpachi.
Or that fireball that'd fucking knock half your health off if you didn't dodge it in quick succession. That looked painful, what I just saw there, by the way.
Oh, yeah. No,
I feel very bad for him.
Yes.
That was a bit cruel.
In Mortal Kombat 1, Scorpion is actually Kuai Liang. So the younger brother's actually Scorpion in this.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool.
And it works into the story quite well as well.
Well, let me ask you that. Okay, so we've talked. What would be, if you could pick games, movies, whatever? They come to you. They go, Matt, what character are we putting in here? What's the next guest character? Keeping in mind, it's got to be somewhat realistic. So, for example, you could not put Goku in here, it would
No,
make
no.
more sense.
No.
Goku and Vegeta would just be like, you'd be like, really?
Yeah,
really?
it'd
What
be a
kind of
case of
power
no.
dampening bullshit is this?
But then again, you've got Omni-Man,
So-
which is, yeah,
Yeah, but again, let's be honest. When it comes down to it, Omni-Man and Homelander, I imagine when he comes out, well, they've been dampened comparatively speaking.
yeah.
In reality, if you watch Invincible, Omni-Man should be able to breeze through pretty much all of these people.
Oh, absolutely.
But to me, Goku and Vegeta and those, even Yamcha, well, maybe not Yamcha, but that would be a little too beyond. It'd be like putting, well, yeah. To me, that would just be beyond the pale. It'd be too much of a downstep in power.
Yeah, no. If I was going to go with, either a DC character or
Doesn't have to be DC. I'm talking anybody you want within the realm of reason.
Mm.
They've had Terminator, they've had Rambo, they've had Freddy Krueger,
Alien.
Alien, Predator. Who would be? Because I know exactly who I'd want to see put in here. It'd be a bit of an odd one, but I think it'd be hilarious.
Well, what's yours then?
Well, I mean, I very much doubt you've ever seen it, but I would love to see Art the Clown from Terrifier.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that.
Just because of the sheer one, like, don't get me wrong, watching him do all the martial arts would be ludicrous. But to be fair, watching Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees do it was a bit silly. But the level of brutality that they could bring to that character, it would be very funny. I would enjoy that very, very much, because he's a character that doesn't speak. So, if they got the guy that plays him in the movies, who's very brilliant at portraying things just with his facial expressions to do the intros, it would be I'd be entertained. Very entertained.
One thing I'd definitely like to see. I've got to bring him. I'm a Johnny boy.
Sorry, but I will say, realm of reality though. If I'm going a little bit out of reality for a second, the one that I think would just be funny, but it'd be so crazy.
Yep.
Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses. We're going right out of the realm of reality. So I throw anybody in there. I just want to see Axl Rose in a Mortal Kombat game. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. It'd be so good.
That would be quite cool, actually.
But yeah, so there you go. Who's your little more reality based? I say reality in the loosest term versus the one that's just out there. What are your two for that one? There you go.
Well, probably one that's a little bit more in reality. I would work a bit better. I would actually probably say Kane from the Legacy of Kane series, or Raziel from Soul Reaver.
Okay, I haven't played it, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'll take your word on those ones.
But I mean, they missed an opportunity in another franchise for that. But moving on. They would work well. Or one that I thought there was an actual there was a rumor going around that he was going to be, but Pinhead.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be cool.
They did actually kind of I think they rumored it, or they just had someone trolling it or something, but they said that they're going to have Pinhead.
I remember that, yeah.
And I think that would have been brilliant because, Pinhead would be because he's not a brawler, but and again, not all of them have to be. Even the freaking the mages here are freaking kick your ass. So I could see him very much like Quan Chi in that regard.
I'd be cool with it. Again, I can't really argue with it. I think based on, this would be a bit of fandom on my part, Cloud or Tifa I think would be cool from Final Fantasy VII. Or actually, no, I'm gonna be a little bit on you. I'm gonna say Squall from 8 with that gunblade, because it would give you options for fatalities that would be very interesting.
Yes,
that's just the Final Fantasy fan in me kind of eking its way through. But I think Squall and his gunblade would make for some very interesting fatalities.
Yes, I'd definitely say so on that one.
So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, if we're going outrageous with that, I would say probably
get much more outrageous than.
No, that's true. I would probably say somebody from One Piece, because some of them. I mean, Captain Buggy from One Piece, because his double fruit power is called the Chop Chop fruit. So he can kind of split himself up and kind of float around and all that sort of stuff. But he can also, he's immune to swords and stuff.
You know who I'm surprised they've never put into any of these games, considering how big it was? Anyone from The Matrix. Now, I'm not a fan of The Matrix. I actually don't like it, I'll freely admit it. But I'm surprised you've never seen any of those characters pop up in these games.
Yeah, see, Agent Smith would do well.
Agent Smith, I think Neo, based on what I've seen of them, he'd probably do... Most of them would do well in these games. But yeah, no, it's just... Is Sonya only a cameo in this?
Yes. See, again,
that's outrageous.
I did want to mention the cameo system, because I actually don't mind the cameo system on merit.
I don't mind it, but Sonya Blade should not just be a cameo.
They've actually got a couple that were mainstays through the base of the whole thing, the whole series up until this point.
She's one of the originals, though, man.
She was.
Yeah, at the very least, your original characters none of them should have been cameos, man. Sorry, no. Come on, man.
You got Kano, you got Kano, you got Sonya, and Jax. Jax is reduced just to cameo.
Yeah, but Jax wasn't in the original.
No,
so
he started from 2.
That, but like I said,
started from 2.
Like Sonya and that, they were, your first offs. They're your starting guys.
She was your leading lady. Her and Katana.
Right, so for a cameo, come on now.
Shit, I think I missed that.
Something big, yeah.
No, I missed that.
I think you did too. Yeah,
just
go well. Oh, well, that's a punishment.
Yeah, that's what happens when you fail.
Yeah. No, it's such a long, storied series.
Especially
really
recently.
Such a long storied series, and back in it was such a big thing back in the day. The cabinets and there'd been fighting series before, but nothing quite like it.
Yeah, it definitely kind of like made it a bit more
molds.
Less cartoony.
It broke the mold. It broke the mold in a lot of ways. It wasn't just it was so big, different fighting game. It was, like I said, the violence level at the time. I don't really think, I think Doom obviously was out at that point. But really, the kind of violence that Mortal Kombat 1 and the subsequent releases kind of displayed at the time hadn't really been done, I don't think, to that level. Because even, like, if you look at Doom by comparison, Doom was obviously very pixelated, and it was real brilliant for its time, but... And certainly was Mortal Kombat, was it 89? 91? Somewhere in there?
Crap.
93.
I think it was 93, because it's celebrated its 30 years.
Yeah,
30 years was last year, I think.
93 definitely sounds about right. So, I mean, yeah, nothing that we now associate with normal, even back then, like, I think your most gory ones that came out around that time after that, I think Silent Hill was certainly up there, Resident Evil was certainly up there. You had various PC games started to really show out with violence around that time, but I think 93 there wasn't much. You had your Doom and you had your Wolfenstein, but they were very pixelated by comparison.
But things back then, video games themselves were kind of in their infancy anyway.
Look like Apollo Creed from Rocky.
Because that's Mortal Kombat 2 Jax before he gets his metal arms.
He looks like Apollo Creed from Rocky. That's not a bad thing either. Well, rest in peace, Carl Weathers. You're a phenomenal actor.
What? When did he pass away?
Last month before, around there.
Huh.
It wasn't very long ago. It was only within the last couple of months he passed away.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah, rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
Yeah, loved him in. I thought he was great in Rocky. Loved him in Predator. They were kind of my two big Carl Weathers ones.
He was good in The Mandalorian, actually.
In what? Sorry.
The Mandalorian.
Ah, yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
Anyway, back to Mortal Kombat though. Funny you mentioned Carl Weathers. There was actually a Jax premium skin for one of them that was actually Carl Weathers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if I...
I mean, he was probably inspired by it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I was a gambling man, I feel like there'd be money to potentially made on the fact that someone was inspired by Carl Weathers when they put Jax together, in some part. Yeah, a lot of these characters, as we know with, Johnny Cage was originally supposed to be played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. And obviously they've now got him in this one as an alternate skin and voice.
Mm-hmm. And as a nod to that original as well.
Yeah, so I mean, there's wouldn't be a surprise.
Speaking of which,
if Carl Weathers had been, if Carl Weathers had been an inspiration for anything involving that,
that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Speaking of which, here's Jean-Claude now.
There you go. You want to? How's this for? This is a bit of a random one. Going back to the guest characters.
Yep.
Matrix from Reboot.
Oh yeah.
He's big. He's built like a tank. He's got the gun with the eye that aims.
And he's a bit foul. He's a bit foul mouthed as well.
Yeah. I mean, you'd never see it, but there you go. Matrix from Reboot.
Yeah.
For those that don't know Reboot, what are you doing?
Yeah,
What I'd say to you is, for those that don't know Reboot, what are you doing?
And there's not exactly like it's a spoiler or anything.
Find a way to watch it. Yeah, go out, find a way to watch it, and watch it. Turn this off right now and go and watch Reboot.
Oh no, wait till it's finished first, and then go out and watch it.
No, don't even wait till it's finished. If you don't know what we're talking about, then what are you doing? Go watch Reboot. You're watching the wrong thing. Turn this off. Go watch Reboot.
One of the greatest shows to ever come out of Canada.
You need to go and get some culture. So
yeah,
off you go.
Either that, or if you don't know what you're talking about, you're probably not old enough to watch this anyway.
Yeah, it's also possible. No, that's not true, man. You think about it. So let's say, for argument's sake, we'll say 18 plus over.
Yeah.
That's still beyond Reboot times now, man.
Actually, yeah, because that'd be what, 20...
People that are 18 now could still have feasibly not heard of Reboot and be old enough to watch this. But again, to those people, I say, what are you doing here? Get out of here. Go watch Reboot. And
then come play this after you've watched the entire series.
Go, leave, turn this off, go watch Reboot, come back later. We'll still be here. But if you need to go and see Reboot, get yourself some culture.
Yes.
Go and watch arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, in my opinion, computer animated series ever made. Phenomenal from start to finish.
Have a nice day. Brutality.
Just do
Johnny Cage.
But yeah, I mean, it's...
And who knows, maybe one day we'll do a podcast about Reboot, because there was a Reboot game.
Oh, was there? It was on PS1, wasn't it?
Yes, on PS1, and it was bloody terrible. It was such a wasted opportunity, but it did exist. It falls in the realm.
Anyway, back to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. For those of you that have now come back from watching Reboot, well done. Told you it was good.
We are proud of you.
Yeah.
Then I shall eliminate you, Mr. King.
Yeah, look, it's such a, like I said before, man, there's so much.
But
Mortal Kombat.
The fact that it's come from, it's basically humble beginnings to basically just a standard run-of-the-mill.
Would you call it humble?
It started off quite humble. I mean, they were basically movable photographs of people in the very first game.
Oh yeah, maybe the graphic a bit, but have you ever seen the mental just craziness of Mortal Monday when they ported it? It was huge.
I think I was pretty young.
This is Mortal Kombat. This is Mortal Kombat. Oh, but dude, if you ever go on YouTube and yeah, this was Mortal Kombat 1. 2 hadn't. I don't think 2 had come out yet at that point when they ported 1, and even then, monstrous response. People were ready to go for this game. And it had built that following on an arcade machine, which at the time arcades were bigger.
Yeah. I mean, they're a bit of a dying thing now. But I'd love to get a Mortal Kombat arcade machine.
Some of them are making a bit of a resurgence. I said there is one down in Sydney where I live that's huge, and I believe it actually has Mortal Kombat arcade machines in it. Original ones too, like not those obviously refurbished, but yeah, it has the first and second and the third ones, I think.
I don't mind the addition of the cameos, because that, again, that's a new thing. You've never had, you know, basically two people fighting at once in any of the games.
I would like the idea of if they did something similar to Marvel vs. Combat. Oh, Marvel vs. Combat, good lord. Marvel vs. Capcom, where you have, like, obviously 3 or 2 or whatever, but you can have more than one player. So, like, if you're fighting and then you swap out, I come in kind of thing. That'd be cool. You know what I mean? You obviously couldn't have 2 fighting at the same time on screen, but have your partner controlling the other person and you swap out. I think that'd be a nice little game upgrade.
Yeah, no, that'd work alright. But I do like because with the combination of the fighter and the cameo, you've got with the fatal blow, which is a big move that you probably saw me using with Shao Kahn just before. Oh, sorry, General Shao. He's not Kahn in this. With the different combinations, they're different. So if you've got a different cameo, different player or fighter, as they call them, it actually gives different results. So it does kind of remove a bit of monotony, or as much, because I know that a lot of people don't like fighting games because it's basically the same thing day in, day out.
Yeah, look, I can understand that. You know, and speaking from a personal experience, I can understand that. I don't mind a fighting game, but I will freely admit that it does get to a point sometimes where I'm like, okay, like I'm just doing. But then again, for me, I'll also freely admit fighting games are not necessarily my forte. I'm not good with the more complicated aspects of the controls. I'm not great.
Yeah, well, whereas with me, I mean, they were what opened my eyes to gaming. So for me, I can literally play Mortal Kombat for hours, even though it's basically fight after fight after fight, and I would not get bored.
Yeah, although I'm genuinely surprised you're not someone that owns an arcade controller. I'm honestly surprised by that fact.
Oh no,
I thought you would have had one of those special arcade controllers.
No, I can't use those.
Really?
I never got good until I was using an actual console controller.
Yeah, right. So in other words, you and I will probably never be playing Counter-Strike on keyboard and mouse. Controllers are apparently your thing.
I mean, I used to play Counter-Strike on keyboard and mouse.
Fatality. Johnny Cage wins.
And I will be censoring some of this stuff out for younger viewers.
Oh, piffle. We're talking Mortal Kombat, man.
True.
It's Mortal Kombat. You don't be censoring stuff out for younger viewers on Mortal Kombat.
Sink or swim, bitch!
What are you, Nintendo? You know, censor stuff on Mortal Kombat? Why are you even here, if that's the case?
Yeah, no, yeah. That is kind of disrespectful.
Kombat, dude.
That would be disrespectful.
That is very disrespectful. We literally discussed earlier on that Sega got the leg up because Nintendo was too scared to show the real deal, and now you're talking about censoring things? Come on.
My apologies. But yeah,
that's abysmal on your part.
Yeah, no, I should be ashamed.
We're gonna need a bigger mob.
You of all people.
I've actually cosplayed as Johnny Cage once. Though it was
that's particularly hard. I'd be more impressed if you said you'd cosplayed as Sub-Zero or something.
I want to do Ermac. I want to do Ermac. I do like Ermac.
Well, one of these days we'll go to a convention and I won't tell you I'm going. I'll just turn up without you knowing and I'll be dressed as Aaron Black, just to upset your day.
Well, I'll make sure that I'll make sure I'm Mortal Kombat characters. Like, yeah, we're just reliving one of the games. One of the scenes from the games, yeah.
No, I won't have to worry about that. I'll just stand in the distance and shoot you with Nerf bullets. You won't ever be able to get close.
I'll be like, damn it, Michael!
I will say, when you're talking, obviously games made by the people that made Mortal Kombat, boy, they knew how to make Superman a dickhead in Injustice, didn't they?
Oh, they did well with that. I mean,
him and Wonder Woman both. It was just like, ugh.
Yeah, see, I never liked Wonder Woman, but the fact that it was like, oh yeah, no, you turned her into even more of a bit of a cow. It's like, okay, yeah. I never liked Superman at all. I think it's kind of
he is what he is. I never had a problem
okay.
with Superman.
Cluish cold shoulder. So I'm assuming I should use Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah, if it's called cold shoulder, that seems like a safe bet.
So I think it's probably the brutality, because yeah, I do like the whole invasions thing, where it's like, you know, you're doing the seasonal stuff, but it's you don't have to do it online.
What was
hang on, we will take a quick
Ozzy's
commercial break.
question?
So 1 second.